Let me take you back in time to a faraway place called 2019. Yes, 2019. That's a place. I was still, I was listening to Kiss 917 in a school bus because that's what my bus driver, Laura, was playing. I remember the antics of Pepper and Dylan and King Robbie on the air. One of my best memories about them is when they showed their love of A&W in a Taylor Swift song. I don't know about you. I love A&W. Everything will be all right if what we head to the drive through. And that's stuck in my head to this day. And I'm Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Me and my mom don't usually go to A&W. I was never a Taylor Swift person, but there's a reason why their antics stuck with me. I have another radio memory. When Sean Burke was still on the Breeze, another radio station, a woman caller brought up Grease on the air. And what Sean did was sing the first lines of You're the One That I Love. It's electrifying. The reason why it stuck with me is that they're like a friend who tell you their love of one thing and you could relate to it. Or in the case of Sean, they they could say, um, he's like a friend that relates to you. Yeah. And the reason why it's like that, it's because, well, and of course, asking and of course interviewing a lot of Meetup Spot broadcasters or broadcasters on my podcast Meetup Spot rather is that is that is that they have one thing in common, and that is connection to the communities, and I guess a connection to charities. Sean Burke, he volunteered and he volunteered and did MC duties for local charities. Chris Sheets, he did a tractor stunt where he stayed there for 5 days and raised $150,000 for farmers. What else? Tanya Owen, yeah, she was touched by how much listeners she was touched by the fact that there were many listeners who were touched by the radio stations, especially since radio station she was on is a Christian station. It became a CHR station, and she's still there. Kat Callahan, despite having a syndicated radio show, still made an effort to visit those local communities her radio show is syndicated on. Sure, there may be more things to talk about on. There may be more stories of what every radio broadcaster sisters I interviewed they had. There may be more stories, but so far those are great experiences. But right now there's a problem in radio. AM radio closures, cuts, and the big guys saying nobody listens to radio anymore. The thing about it, when you were on your way to work, what do you listen? Podcast and but most importantly, it's a radio, and even then, radio will still matter because yeah, radio will still matter. And one thing, I am thinking of going to radio. I'm still waiting for that NATE application for fall 2026. I got accepted for the winter term. So why did I choose radio? Why not other things? Well, I have a good voice. Yeah, yeah. I have a good voice. That's it. Is this the course? Is this the place I really want to go to? I'm 21. The heck do I know? I- Sure, I could go to the circus, but I got two rods in my back. But but I have my voice, my wit, my intellect, my writing, my intellect. I should give radio a shot. Now now for all of us on the listener's side, well, radio. Why is radio better than listening to Spotify or music platforms? because well because Spotify or because radio does one thing that Spotify or music platforms can do is, of course, like I said, connection. The only connection thing that Spotify or music platforms do is just want to break from the ads. That's the only connection they have. And for all those radio DJs right now, no matter how tough it gets, remember why you're there. Is it of because of the fact that you enjoy the process of, of you enjoy the process of doing radio and radio school, or enjoyed listening to radio growing up? Never give up. Yeah. Now 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 no matter what, radio will stand a test of time. And I really hope someday that when I work on a radio station, I really hope somebody teaches me how awesome and important radio stations are. That's it. Back to you, Toastmasters.